This is At Your Service, the service management podcast from CRM Audio, with your hosts, Shawn Tabor and Scott LeFante.
KingswaySoft is a leading integration solution provider, offering software solutions that make data integration affordable and painlessly easy. Thousands of enterprise clients from over 70 countries and regions rely on KingswaySoft to integrate their data with various business systems in order to drive their business efficiency and fully leverage their information assets. KingswaySoft is a leading provider of Microsoft Dynamics integration software, including Dynamics 365, CRM, AX, NAV, GP, SL, as well as many other applications, such as Marketo, Dropbox, QuickBooks, and Salesforce. Whether you need one solution or several, KingswaySoft works easily within the SSIS platform to make your integration processes as quick and easy as possible. Many of their clients have seen 3 to 10 times greater data integration performance after switching to the SSIS integration platform. We thank KingswaySoft for sponsoring this episode of At Your Service.
Okay, we're back. It's been a little while since we've been around. Sorry, folks, if you were waiting with bated breath 2 weeks ago for our last episode. I was at the CRM UG Summit 2017 in Nashville, Tennessee. I almost said Nashville, Texas. That'd have been bad. So I had a real good time there. Presented on 7 different sessions. It was a busy conference. And as always, here today I have with me Scott LeFante. How you doing, Scott?
Very well, Shawn. How are you today?
I'm quite well. So were you a little tense, a little nervous? We didn't record to get that information out there about service related topics.
I was. We were letting everyone down, so it was weighing on me.
Well, we shan't do it again. While I was at Summit, I was able to secure a guest for next week, or the next podcast. We go every 2 weeks. Sorry. And that's going to be none other than the Dynamics 365 diva herself, Sarah Jelinek. So I'm very excited about that. She did some really great sessions on customer service at Summit. She's a fun speaker, and that should be a great episode next week. And I got an idea for a little something we can do with Sarah, but I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that as a teaser.
Surprise.
Yeah, we're not going to get into too much to that. So look forward to that next week when we have Sarah on. And then after that, I have quite a list of people that I want to get on the podcast after Summit. Talk to a lot of people and with a lot of interesting takes on stuff. So we should have a bevy of folks in the weeks to come. Not just ourselves, which is not only exciting for the audience, but a little exciting for us as well. So, fun story. We started recording this morning at the near unholy hour of 8 a.m. And my power went out. So that stopped the recording. Luckily, because I was not well enough caffeinated, for one, and for two, we got a great topic that we're talking about today. I wanted to be excited about it. You know, there's a lot of great opportunity. We're implementing it on one of our engagements right now. It's going to be great, but if I'm no good before 9 o'clock. I think that's just a thing. So.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. So given our topic is universal resource scheduling, on my skills and characteristics, not good before 9 o'clock would be on there, precluding me from being scheduled.
That is correct.
I would not be a resource you could book that early in the hour. So let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about universal resource scheduling. This came out the December update for Dynamics 365, if memory serves correctly. And this is really what is allowing Dynamics to deprecate service scheduling, the horrific service scheduling. I get chills even thinking about it.
Rest in peace.
I mean, it was good for what it needed to do back in the day, but it's a new world. There's new requirements. There's new things that we need to have happen. So universal resource scheduling is the way to go now. So with that, there's a lot of new opportunity, a lot of capabilities that Dynamics 365 customers can take advantage of. But this is not something that is just, you just turn it on and say, hey, all right, I got it now, right? So let's talk a little bit about what it is, what you need, what prerequisites you have. And I always have a problem with that word prerequisite. It always comes out prerequisite. I don't know why. But anyway, the prereqs for it, for URS, and what opportunities there are for customers to leverage the functionality.
Sounds good. Let's go for it.
All right. So with universal resource scheduling, this not only allows you to schedule against work orders and projects, it opens it up to all other entities that you want to schedule resources against, right? Could be custom or system entities. And it really opens up the possibilities. So that being said, what do you need in order to enable unified, or you keep saying unified, universal resource scheduling?
That is a fantastic question, Shawn.
The only kind of questions I ask, Scott. I think you'll learn that. Yes.
And I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's two things that are needed. One is you have to have field service or project service automation provision for your instance, right? Because that's how you get the tools to for universal scheduling. The other item that you need is you need to use that new role for universal scheduling admin. So those two pieces are, and at least the first piece, which is the licenses for field service or project service automation, are your first stop, right? So you need that in order to get the schedule board and do all the great stuff that is available with universal resource scheduling.
Okay, so let me see. So if I'm a customer, I have tier 1. Do I have it? If I just have tier 1 and I don't have project service or field service, I have to have one of those two. Correct. Right? I have to have one of those add-ons. Now, when I have the add-on, do I have to go to AppSource to get the module or the functionality for the universal resource scheduling, or what? How does that?
No, it will. There is if you go to your D365 admin console in Office 365, there should be a solution in there for universal scheduling, and you should be able to go ahead and make sure that's installed, and that's pretty much it.
But once you enable field or project service automation, it should come there. Right.
Yeah, it should come in there, and it should be enabled. Sometimes I've seen it where it's not, but it's very rare. It's typically when someone's going and uninstalling something.
Okay.
In Office 365.
And if I'm a Field 1 customer, that's not the same as having field service. I have to have field service for Dynamics 365, right?
Absolutely, yes. Okay. If you have Field 1, it is time to upgrade. And there's plenty of reasons to upgrade, and stay tuned onto all these sessions to learn more about all the fantastic field service functionality.
That's right. Okay, so for your money, what is one of the big wins with universal resource scheduling?
My money is the fact that now I can, if I'm a sales organization, right, I have an inside sales team that does lead generation or calling on leads that come in from maybe a website or even opportunities, right, depending on how you classify it. I can now schedule those to my team and track those a little bit easier than in the past, right? So in the past, if you had a lead, you assign it maybe to a salesperson, and they need to go look and see where my leads are. But now I can go to a schedule board or do a schedule assistant and say, well, who do I have available and who can handle this type of particular opportunity or lead and schedule it accordingly. I mean, that's big, right? Especially with organizations that potentially have very large sales structures and they're going to have different skill sets.
Right.
To be able to schedule those now and look at the characteristics is pretty substantial.
So basically, you could look at your skills for your salespeople and look at the folks who get coffee, because we all know coffee's for closers. And
absolutely,
that's who you'd set up on the schedule board to go talk to that lead or that potential opportunity.
Absolutely.
Okay. And is this just enabled for all entities, or is there anything you have to do to get that set up against an entity other than a work order or a project?
Another great question, Shawn. You are on a roll.
I am. It's what I do. I can't turn it off. You know.
I know.
This is how it goes.
No, that is a great question. And it is a valid one. So everyone needs to know that, yes, even though you have project service or field service, so you have the universal scheduling capabilities, it is not enabled by default for every entity. So what you need to do is you need to go to the resource administration functionality to go ahead and enable your additional entities such as opportunities or leads or even cases for that example. So those are some of the steps you'd have to do is go ahead and enable that, and then you can do some additional mappings and customizations that your heart desires.
And with the universal resource scheduling, it's opened up a bunch of cool things, especially for those resources that you're booking against non-traditional objects like the work order or the project task. You can see their fulfilled and remaining duration out of the box. You can it'll calculate that duration of the requirement. You can, on the schedule board, you can do the configurable colors on resource summary rows, so you can identify by the resource type and resource that you're scheduling against the different colors. You have your requirement searches. You have undefined territories. So there's a lot of cool things within universal resource scheduling that you can take advantage of that you didn't have before. There's a lot of capabilities here. It's not just the fact of being able to schedule a resource against an object that you wouldn't normally have done, but you have all of the power and functionality of the schedule board that you had for field service or project service automation now with those other objects. So really maximizes the efficiency of when you're sending people out to close deals, to follow up with leads and prospects, to provide pitches and presentations. It adds a component to the ROI and the expenses, like the cost of attaining a customer, right? That's something you can get a little more granular on with this kind of capability, because you're really taking in all of the different aspects of that pursuit, not only the collateral of the things you send them, and not only the time that the salesperson is spending with them on activities, but now with this scheduling, you're really able to see the big bang and the benefit of that resource being scheduled against that lead, that opportunity, that case, what have you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's a great point. And some of the great features are, of course, is in addition to seeing the ROI, like you said, seeing it on the schedule board and the colors, and that's part of that mapping and setup process. Is hey, when you're scheduling say a case or a lead, and you schedule it, what does it map to in terms of the statuses? Because you can have them be different than what you have for your work orders or your projects. Mm-hmm. And then it would still show up on the schedule board with that color for that status. So it's fairly straightforward. There are some steps that you need to do, but it does bring out a world of possibility, like you said, in terms of just being able to see things a little bit more clearly, where your resources are, what's scheduled, what's on the books, really. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, what are your people doing at a glance? And it's just invaluable.
Well, and you know, I think what's one of the biggest things for me is it's enabling functionality for the sales organization that was historically only really viable for the service organization, right? But if you have one of those situations where you have sales and field techs, you know, maybe you have, like, for example, you have in a given sales organization for a technology firm, you could have pre-sales folks who go out and do demos, and then you have people like us who go out and do the implementations, right? So with this kind of model, a professional services organization now can schedule their resources against project tasks, against just opportunities, against various sales related entities, as well as custom, especially for support organizations or sales organizations alike. So really cool stuff with the universal resource scheduling, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's just reaching the surface. So it hasn't, we haven't seen the end of how universal resource scheduling is going to evolve. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been out for less than a year, and there's still a lot of potential there to really bring it up, because there are still limitations, right? And that's with anything, but there are still some limitations that maybe we'll see go away in the future.
Absolutely.
I mentioned that there are limitations, and these are important to understand, because they're not the same limitations that there would be with work orders or projects. And you're sitting there saying, well, I don't understand. You know, I can use that tool or scheduling for anything you said now. And yes, that is correct. So there are 3 ways we can manually schedule. And if you look at the schedule board today, they're all the same, right? So you can right click on an unscheduled booking, so a lead or an opportunity or whatever else you might be scheduling. You can right click on that and find your available resources and set up your parameters to look for those. You can drag and drop to the schedule board. And then when you enable a new entity, in the ribbon and the command bar you'll see a button, a command for book. So you can book it from there as well. You could also use the schedule assistant to schedule these. The one thing you cannot use is resource scheduling optimization. That is not available today for anything outside of the work order project area.
And you know, that's a good point. I mean, it's just the tools that empower the capabilities with unified resource scheduling is sometimes it's kind of overwhelming, because you know, this really speaks to the fact that you don't just flip a switch and turn this on. You really need to have a plan in place for how you're going to use this, who's going to be the scheduling person, who's going to be the dispatcher, especially if you're not in a service-oriented organization already, and your scheduler, if you will, is going to be someone that is already in a sales admin role or something to that effect, as opposed to someone that's used to dispatching resources in a service organization.
Absolutely. So that is a vital step here. So enabling it is one thing, but planning out how to use it and then setting up the requirements view. So if everyone's familiar with the schedule board and you have the requirements view on the bottom, you set up your new view. And all of those are going to be important. And then, of course, who is managing that functionality and who's acting as that dispatcher or the, I'll call them the shuffler organization admin, and making sure that things are happening the way they're supposed to. in a traditional non-work order or even service function, that may not be well defined. So that is one thing to not assume. Definitely don't assume that someone is going to be scheduling these and working those. Plan that out. Plan out what that requirements section is going to look like. Plan out the different statuses and how it's going to flow in the process to get from that open to assign to closed state. And then, of course, any other functionality you may want to build from a custom workflow perspective that you see where workflows work and things change automatically. You can still build those, but it's not going to be like it is for you out of the box with work orders and projects.
Right. And as we're coming to the end of this segment, I do want to make a comment. There's a great video guide on how to set up an entity for unified resource schedule, or not unified, universal resource scheduling, and that's tip 867 on crmtipoftheday.com. It's a video guide to Dynamics 365 universal scheduling. So, and actually he calls it unified scheduling. So I think at one point it was unified. Now it's universal. It's that's why I've said it 3 different ways during this conversation. But in the video, he goes through how to set up and schedule other entities such as cases, opportunities, custom entities using the schedule board that's part of either field service or project service automation solutions. So great video, and we'll conclude that in the episode page for you to look at. So any last thoughts, any comments about universal resource scheduling?
For me personally, take the time. A lot of folks in our position, such as architects or consultants, they hear requirements from a customer, and the first thing that they don't think of is universal resource scheduling. Mm-hmm. They're thinking of the old ways to do things and maybe just assign a particular person and send tasks out or email notifications. Mm-hmm. Pause. Remember that there's all this new functionality out there, and take advantage of it, because that's what it's there for. And it's, in my opinion, is an extremely value add to any project or any organization that is looking to schedule anything, really.
I agree. And it's some really cool functionality to boot. So I think we're going to keep it short and sweet. I think we've said what we needed to say about universal resource scheduling. And, leave them wanting more, right? So one more time, what I'd say is check out tip 867 on CRM Tip of the Day for the video guide. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at CRM Hobbit, or you can follow the CRM Audio Network at CRM Audio. And Scott, you are now on Twitter. Am I correct?
I am now on Twitter. I know it's, I took a 2-year hiatus, but I am back, and you can reach me at fieldservice_guru, and that's FLD service_guru.
And we'll add those Twitter names to the episode page as well. So for Scott LeFante, I am Shawn Tabor, and as always, we are at your service. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week. At Your Service is a production of Dynamic Podcasts, LLC. Follow Shawn on Twitter at CRM Hobbit. Subscribe to the CRM Audio Network of podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, or any place else that fine podcasts are available. You can email us at voice@crm.audio. Thanks again to our sponsors, Kingsway Soft and Alexa CRM.